Alright guys, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about Express, which is one of the most popular web frameworks for Node. However, before we begin, I need to tell you a story. So I was taking a shower this morning and I got undressed and I was standing in my bathroom. My shower was running, I was ready to hop in, and right before I did, I was just looking in the mirror and I noticed this little it was like a white little stringy thing across like my stomach next to my belly button. And at first I was like freaking out. I'm like, is this some kind of vein, or that doesn't look right? Something must be wrong with me. And I started worrying that something was wrong. And then I realized that I was just eating a piece of pizza on the computer with my shirt off about an hour earlier, and a piece of cheese must have fallen down and crusted to my stomach. So yeah, some of my health issues were just a piece of cheese. But you know what, let's just get on with this tutorial. Please do not judge me. We're not here to judge, we're here to learn Node and Express. So, alright. What is Express? Express is a web framework. What's that mean? Well, we already know whenever we have a framework, a lot of the functionality that we need, it means someone else has written it for us so we can use it. Pretty awesome. Also, the entire structure for our projects, in other words, how we organize our folders, our files, it's all set up for you in Express. So without further ado, let's go ahead and learn how to make one. From Intellij, if you go to File, New Project, what you can do here is you can choose, let me move this so you can see, alright. In the little section down here, it's Node.js and NPM, and choose Node.js Express App. It's our only option, and click Next. So from here, it's really easy. You just give it a project name. I'm going to name mine Megan. Why? Well, because Megan is a cute girl that works at McDonald's, and I always see her, but I'm too afraid to ask her out. I don't know why. I guarantee she would say yes, but this is the most random tutorial ever. Alright, whatever. Name your project whatever you want. Where do you want to put it? This place looks good. Now, the one option I do want you to change is this. For the template engine, what this essentially is pretty much how you're going to write your plain HTML templates. So Jade is kind of a weird, it's not weird, it's actually pretty popular, but the one I'm going to be teaching you guys is EJS. It's really easy to understand. It's pretty much just like HTML. Jade, it kind of looks like Python. If Python and HTML had a baby, that would be Jade, but we're going to go with EJS, and you guys are going to see what this is in a second. But click Finish. Alright, just open it in this window. Core modules, configure it for this project, and boom, we are good to go. So what that does is it essentially sets up your bare bones project. So all of the default basic files and directories that you need, if you expand your project, you can see them right here. And I know what you guys are thinking already. Okay, this is a lot of crap. We were working with like one file before. Now I'm going to have to understand what all of this crap is. Well, I'm going to give you guys like the 2-second overview right now. But first, before I even begin, double click, actually expand bin right here, and double click this www.js file. And if you right click this, you can run it right now. And the port by default, I believe, is 3000. So go to localhost 3000 and check it out. So if you see this, that means everything is good. If you don't, then make sure that you actually are running your project. And once it's running, verify that everything is set up correctly. We can start figuring out what all this crap is. So let me just collapse some of this so it's a little bit easier to follow along. Alright. So the reason, well, I guess I might as well explain it like this. I'll just go top down and explain what all these files are. This one, idea, this is just your Intellij Settings. Nothing new, don't touch anything in there. That's just for your piece of software, your IDE. Bin, as you can see, there's one file in here, and this is the one where we had to right click and run to get our project up and running. And if you guys are like, you know what, I thought you said that app.js was usually the main file, like the main starting point. Well, whenever you're working with Express, this www file right here, this is pretty much your startup script. And it has a bunch of core settings, pretty much saying create a server, tell it what port to listen to. And what this file does is it actually kicks off app.js. So again, this is your startup script with some really base settings, but this, like I said, is really the core behind your project, and we'll get to that in a second. So that's what bin is. Now these node modules, these are all of the modules in addition to the core modules. So again, anytime we use node, we get all of the core modules, and we can see those in the external libraries. Now what Express did is it downloaded a bunch of additional modules that we need in addition to the core modules, and if we ever need any more core modules, or excuse me, any more modules other than the core ones, then those are going to go in the node underscore modules directory as well. Now public, what this is essentially files that the users are going to be able to access. So this is going to be all of your images, your JavaScript, your style sheets, all that stuff. So anything for the public, not directly related to like your server files, because obviously you don't want to give every user access to this file. So again, anything that the users are gonna be able to access goes in public. Now routes, these are pretty much the brains behind each page. So by default, whenever we just set it up and made that quick little template, it gave us two pages by default, the index and users. And if we go to users real quick, we can see. So again, this is just a really basic demo page, but whatever. And obviously those are the only two pages we have so far. So if you go to something like bacon, that doesn't exist. It gives us an error. Let me open that back up. Alright. So whenever you're making a project, you're going to have a bunch of different pages, as you guys can expect. Each different page typically is going to have its own route file. As you can see, they're pretty simple. They're pretty much saying, well, I'll explain exactly what a route is later on. Pretty much think of it like the brains behind each page. Now the views, as you can probably already expect, is the view, in other words, the HTML for each page. Now index, right here, you see it has HTML, head, body. I'm sure you guys know HTML. And this is what I was trying to explain whenever I was talking to you guys about the difference between Jade and EJS. With EJS, we include JavaScript with these weird little symbols, and I'll explain in detail what these symbols mean. But with Jade, it doesn't look like HTML at all. It just looks like a bunch of words and kind of like Python. But again, we don't need to worry about this. Just remember that in your EJS files, you pretty much have plain HTML, and anytime you want to include whether it's just some variables or JavaScript or anything in addition to HTML, you use these weird symbols, and I'm going to be explaining in detail what they are later on. So again, that is pretty much the bare basics of it. So again, this is your startup script. Whenever it gets called, it's going to set up your server and kick off app.js. And in the next tutorial, I'm going to be explaining all this code. And I know it sounds boring, but trust me, it's not as confusing as it looks. There's just a lot of stuff, and I know there are a lot of files, but it's not really confusing at all. There's just, some things we need to go over first. So if you guys feel overwhelmed right now, don't worry, I'm going to explain everything perfectly. Maybe I'll tell you another story about cheese falling on my stomach. Who knows? But for right now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.